Hello adventurers, it is I, Souls Venture, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So for today, we are finishing up my October series, which is titled Lean on Mystery, Not Monsters. So as we are going through the series, we have figured out different ways for you to add mystery into your solo TTRPGs. So back to the beginning. Point 1, my tip for you was to not map everything out. Tip number 2 was to use your senses. And number 3 was to add a tension die into your session. And number 4, I give you tips on how you can roleplay the villain, like switching the point of view from the PC to the villain. And now, my last one. This is all about how to not over prep for your solo session. So we have gone through all of our previous points here, right? And now finally you are ready. So how do you prep for your solo tabletop RPG, but you want to add mystery and tension into your game? So my principle here is to plan just enough for your solo adventure. And I mean, you don't need a crazy amount of lore for you to play. If you do that, number one, you'll probably get really overwhelmed. And I feel like, at least for me, if you feel like you're adding a lot of lore, you will never feel like you have enough. That's just me naturally. I tend to keep going with all these questions that I have about the world that I'm building. And that is not necessary, especially if you're playing solo TTRPGs. That is not necessary. And number 2, you don't need to have all the details in order to have a fun session. The fun with solo TTRPGs is for you to kind of unravel the mystery and get answers as you are exploring and playing your adventure. So now I'm going to go through 3 points. They're very simple. Number 1, define the core mystery. Keep it simple. So this is your adventure prompt. So you want to figure out who, what, when, where, and why. So once you figure out these kinds of questions, then you can easily use that as your main quest or your main adventure. And if you don't know how to structure your own adventure prompt, I highly recommend for you to check out my other YouTube series. I think I did that a couple months back, and that is all about how you structure your campaign and how to start on that. So for example, if we want to do an adventure prompt, let's take, totally forgot about this, but our image for today. So this is a bioengineered robotic hound of some sort. And this thing is roaming around in the city, and you have no idea what this is, where it came from, other than you know that it is dangerous. And so we can have this image as inspiration for our adventure prompt. We can ask who is this? Who is this hound? What is this? Was this created from a mad scientist? Or was this some weird alien species that crash landed onto your hometown? And when did this thing get here? And where did it come from, right? And why is it roaming around the city? Why is it let loose? Why is it destroying everything? So those are all questions, and this could be your main focal point of your core mystery adventure prompt. So that is point number 1. And now, number 2, think about key anchors and NPCs you need in order to solve the mystery. So for example, I thought we can have 3 anchors, so 3 different things that we feel like would lead to the solution of the mystery. And if we have random tables, so over here I have a bunch of different oracles here, and these oracles can kind of help you figure out what are those items that you need to find. And It's up to you if you want to roll and figure out what those items are before you even play your adventure, or you can roll as you play, or you can figure out as you play what those anchors are. So maybe there is an NPC or maybe a location that you're visiting, and you heard a rumor about finding XYZ. Those could be your anchors that way, or you can prep it before your adventure and just roll on some tables and see what your character needs to find. So we can have 3 anchors, so 3 things that we need to find in order to solve the mystery, or it's up to you. You can have 3 key NPCs that you can create. These could be friendlies who can help your PC. These could be foes, maybe they work with the antagonist, or they could be even rival NPCs. Like maybe these are people who are trying to figure out and search for the same exact things that you are searching for. So once you have figured out your anchors, whether or not you want to prep it before your session or you want to play to find out what those anchors are, now you roll on the oracle in order to see if the antagonist has made his move, or you can use a tension die. And now, number 3, you finally create your PC, you get their backstory figured out. It doesn't need to be a crazy, intense, long, detailed backstory. And you get your tools that you need. So any of these things here, if this is what you need, then you are ready to finally play. So I'll give you some of my own personal recommendations here. So for oracles, I love Old School Revival Solo Role-Playing Guide. I use this with most of my OSR. Honestly, like any of the OSR systems that I have in my collection, even non-OSR, it fits pretty well. And I feel like with this too, there are so many tables in here that can help you out with answering complex questions, figuring out the NPCs and factions, or even like dungeon room exploring and creation. And so yeah, there's a lot in here that you can use for your adventure. And of course, I have to give a big shout out to Mythic GME. This is like the one thing that I feel like can be used in any TTRPG system. And there's just so many tables in here that I feel like will help spark that information. Like look at all these tables. Like for example, let's say our PC has found a strange object in a warehouse, and he's trying to figure out what this strange object is. We can roll on one of these tables here to figure out what it is. So let's see, why not, we'll roll for a magic item descriptor or something. So let's get our dice here and let's roll to see what he finds. Okay, so we got a 32, enhance. Okay, so something that makes another object better. Okay, so we have one word, enhance, and then we have 16, communication. Okay, so I'm interpreting that as he found a really good radio and it has really good signal with that radio too. So that is how I'm interpreting it. Our PC just found his very first anchor, and that is a radio. So now we have the Mythic Game Master Emulator, we have Old School Revival. Both of these could be used for almost any type of like system. And then I have Solitary Depths, which is perfect for the system Morkborg. This one's really good to use. It's also a nice supplement for the Solitary Defilement supplement as well. And then we have Adventure Crafter. So this is basically a guide for you to kind of see how you want to track and shape the story. And of course, with a bunch of die rolls on these tables, it'll help you craft out really cool scenes. And they have good examples here, so it gives you a good idea of kind of like what is going on. So this is really good and useful if you want some structure into how you want to craft your scenes here. So these are all really good tools that I love using in my own solo sessions here. And now other tools that I like to use. So obviously a bunch of different types of dice. And then I grab my notebooks and even my DM screen if I want to use the tables and rules that I've made for myself in here. So all of these notebooks are filled with so many adventures that I go on with all the crazy characters that I make. And everything is tracked either through like short notes, drawings. I make my own tables in some of these. So grab whatever you want in order to kind of track your adventure. And you should also make it special for yourself. I think that's another thing too, is when I like to prep for a solo TTRPG, I love making sure that I'm being intentional with which journal I like to use, the style of like drawings. Do I want to color it? Do I just want to make it black and white? And then finally, we have to pick the system that we want to play. So these are a couple of examples. As you know, I absolutely love Morkborg. Very simple system. And another one, Shadow Dark. And then we also have Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition. I've played this one a couple of times and it is so good. And I just love how different this was compared to the other systems that are more on the modern side, like 5e. Like, it's so cool to just dive back into kind of the old school versions of what D&D is like today. And then another system I've been really excited about, the Walking Dead universe. This one's very unique too. It's obviously in the Walking Dead like world, and so it's not that typical like fantasy kind of adventure. So this is more on the modern side, and I will be playing this tomorrow for my Halloween live. If you would like to join, I'd love to see you pop in and say hi. And I'll be playing the Walking Dead universe, and you guys are going to help me create the characters and hopefully have time to actually like play through a simple like one-shot adventure or something. So yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this one tomorrow. So yeah, so once you pick out your journal, your oracles and random tables, and then your system, you are ready to play, to start your adventure. And I really hope that overall that these tips as to why it's important to not over prep, it is simply because you just don't want to spoil things as you play, or else you're probably not going to get as super immersed into your solo experience. Well, that is it for today's video. So thank you guys so much for joining me in this series of Lean on Mystery, Not Monsters. I hope that this was a helpful series and that it helped you kind of like think about how you want to structure your session. So yeah, let me know in the comments if this series was helpful, if you have any questions, or even if you have tips or you want to explain your own solo sessions. And thank you so much for joining me in this month's series. There was something about putting this particular series together that I really enjoyed. So thank you for the support, and I will see you next time.